Hi guys,
Hello.
my name's Christian
My name's Rebecca.
and we're doing the Facebook Live video today to answer some of your questions on Campout. So we're going to wait a little while, maybe a couple of minutes, just in case people want to join us or write any questions that they have as a comment to this video. Yes, so feel free to ask us anything you like if you're a parent or a community member.
Or a young person.
So we'll just wait a few minutes and then we'll start as well. You can introduce yourself if you want to talk about. Do you want to talk about who you are?
I'll talk about who I am for nobody. That's fine. So my name's Rebecca. I'm new crew this year. This will be my first camp, so I'm pretty excited. I'm a caseworker at 2010, which is a queer youth service in Chippendale in Sydney.
And I'm Christian. I've been involved with Campout for about 4 or 5 years. I live here in Sydney and I work in anti-violence education in the community. Yeah, so like I said, I've been on crew for a little while now. So know some of the traps of going up there and what's involved for young people. And I was a high school teacher before my current job as well. Okay, we might get started. We do have some questions that we've prepared earlier, but feel free, like we said, to give us any questions during this video as well, and we'll try to answer them. This is our first time doing this, so
Facebook Live.
Yes, and we don't consider ourselves young people who are often the experts with all this kind of stuff.
No.
So we'll do our best with the video, but we might fumble around a little bit, and you can have a laugh at us, that's fine. Do you want to get the first one?
So where is camp held?
Good question, because we don't often publicise where the camp is held, just for confidentiality of young people especially. But what we can tell people is that it's about 3 hours north of Sydney, and it's in a safe and privately owned space as well, which is all equipped for camps to be run there. So other organisations also run camps. What do you reckon? Do we need anything else on where the camp is held? Not really.
Not really. We take buses there, and they can be organised from different locations. Is that one of our questions?
Probably. Okay, so next question. You can answer this one. Who runs Campout?
Campout does. So Campout is a not-for-profit organisation that is run solely on volunteers, and we apply for grants and we fundraise to have enough money to run the camp. Would you like to add anything to that, Christian?
Yeah, so there's about 15 to 20 of us who are on the core crew of Campout. Some of us have only just started this year. Some of us have been involved for a few years now. And we pretty much all have either a community or education professional background. And some people are artists and musicians as well and have a creative background as well. But we all pretty much all have experience in working with young people, and some of us extensively in our professional careers. Yeah. And
a good time to point out as well that all crew and anyone else that comes along to camp has a Working with Children's check.
That's very true. This year as well, we're really excited because the model of Campout is that we'd really love for campers to be able to join as crew members at some stage. So this year is our first year where 2 ex-campers are now returning as crew members because they're old enough to do so. You have to be 21 to be able to join crew. So yeah, this year's crew involves 2 ex-campers, so they'll know what it's like to experience camp as a young person and how to give something back as a crew member. And we'd encourage any campers that come along or who have come along in the past to definitely apply for crew next year or in the years ahead as well.
much does it cost to attend camp? It costs between $0 and $200. So whatever you and your family can contribute to camp is welcomed, and everything's taken into consideration when we look at applications for campers as well.
Yeah, so we definitely don't turn anyone away who can't afford, don't have enough to contribute like $200. Like it is quite a lot. That's how much it kind of costs for us to run the camp per camper. So it's a sliding scale. So so just a small amount is enough for us, but also we'd never turn anyone away who can't contribute, funds to coming. And we can support young people in transport. If you live regional or rural, remote, we can also pay for things like flights to attend camp. And that's one of the beauties of our organisation, that's why we do fundraising, so we can really support young people who are experiencing barriers in accessing places like Camp Out and other services, especially if you're out, in rural New South Wales. You're not as lucky as us here in Sydney in some ways with a lot of supports. So yeah, we definitely can help you out with that. Okay, this is a good one. This one's important. What is the food like at camp? You haven't really been to camp, so you don't know.
I don't really know. I've got an idea. Yeah. So I know that there is a big kitchen, and it's called Popcorn Palace. We have lots of folks in there who are cooking for us all day long. We encourage the campers and the crew to get in there and give them a hand with cooking and cleaning. It's predominantly vegan and ethically sourced, but I believe there is one meat option a day, and generally things like eggs and cheese available. Yeah,
that's right.
And milk.
Yeah, so we do, and we're close to shops as well. So if there's specific requests that young people have, although we have a set menu that we've already come up with, we're not going to deprive anyone of all of the nutritional value of their favourite foods and some of the, I guess, non-nutritional foods as well, because we're all human and we all love our food. You'll never be hungry at Camp Out, basically. We all have our meals together as well in Camp Central. We like to have fun with it too. So watch this space for what's coming food-wise.
We've had a question come through from Louis. What is the age limit? The age limit is 17.
Yeah, so it's for young people 13 to 17 years old. And you have to live in New South Wales as well. We can make exceptions, but it depends, not exceptions on the age limit, but with where you're geographically based, but it's really dependent on the kind of situation you're in. I know we've already had a couple of applications this year from people in ACT. So we might consider those kind of things, but we just have to wait and see, because we get pretty much double the spaces that we have at camp. We get double the applications. So it's really, our preference is to have everyone from New South Wales, just for logistics and just because that's who the organisation is for. I know we also were just talking before about, we had someone apply from the other side of the world, really, which is great, but probably not this time.
Logistical nightmare.
Yeah. And we're very much looking outward as well in terms of looking at other states and trying to support other states to create a similar thing to Camp Out, because we've definitely had emails in the past and contact from other people who'd want to start a similar thing in their state.
What activities can happen at Camp Out?
Do you want to start that one? Or?
Yeah, we're working on content at the moment, so we have a lot of workshops. There's some fun stuff that's also educational, and we really value community at Camp Out. So we have certain themes that run through all of our workshops, and And then there's also time for like downtime. There's a quiet space. We're right near a lake, and lots of crew around to help you out if there's something that you feel like doing and it's not happening around you, and try and get that going.
Yeah, and so some of the educational kind of things in the past we've talked about things like disability and queerness, culture and race, and what that looks like if you're a young LGBT person. I think this year we're thinking about Auslan and how that can be incorporated into the space as well. Yeah, we have a big party at the end of camp as well, so that's always a fun night. So we all dress up and have a dance. Last year we had a trivia night, but we're also encouraging campers, so if you find out that you're successful this year, we're also encouraging campers to run their own workshops, because as adults we can have a think about what we would like you to do at camp, but would really love campers to themselves be able to bring what's relevant for them in their communities.
Absolutely.
So we do encourage workshops that we call camper-led workshops. I remember in previous years, some people have taught a language that they know to other campers, which was really cute. Hula hooping we've had, yeah, things like that. We're right on a river as well, so we do go in the water. We're trying to improve what kind of stuff we do with that, but you can definitely have a swim and bushwalks as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much what camp looks like. This is a question that we get quite a lot, and rightfully so, both from young people and from adults, and that's what is the sleeping situation at camp? It's a really good question. Do you want me to answer this one? Or?
Yeah, I've got a fair idea. So I know that it's supervised cabins, and so that crew are in cabins with the young people as support and supervision, but I'm not sure of the ratio.
So there's 6 cabins throughout the facility, and when I say cabins, I actually mean, buildings, and each cabin has 8 bunk beds, or around about 8 bunk beds. Each cabin will be mixed sex and gender, so there's no kind of segregation as well, although we do take into account people's experiences and what makes them feel safe, so we're very happy to kind of look into some of that stuff as well. But yeah, so there's lots of different identities in the one cabin, and there'll also be one crew member staying in each cabin every night, so it's like we said, it's a supervised cabin. Yeah, so that's important to us as well, to ensure that it's a safe environment for everyone. So yeah, the young people there'll be a crew member sleeping in that cabin that night. We try to not be too kind of intrusive or involved in the cabin. It's more just you're sleeping there for the safety of the whole team in that cabin.
Do I have to stay for the whole camp? Can I leave early? We were discussing this one before we went live. It's not ideal that campers leave early. It shouldn't be something that we plan for, but it's definitely an option if your mental wellness is being affected or your physical health is being affected, and you need to cut camp short. Crew can assist you to get closer to where your parents can pick you up, or even take you home, I think, if it's not too far from camp. So there are lots of options around there, and campers definitely have communication with parents and guardians and crew, and making sure that everyone's feeling safe.
Yeah, and you'd appreciate, like I said before, that there's so many people who want to get into camp out. So sometimes it's a bit of a bummer if someone would like to cut it short. So we do have a gentle conversation about what it's about, because a lot of us get homesick, and that's often a thing, that it's our first time away from our families or communities. So, you're allowed to make phone calls and things like that at home as well if you need to. Yeah, but we'd love campers to stay for the whole time. just because we know how much you can get out of it by staying the whole time. You can definitely notice, in my experience with Camp Out, the difference between when campers first arrive, and a lot of the young people are quite scared at the beginning because you know, it might be the first experience they've had with like a community like them, but by the end of it, they're pretty darn sad to leave. So, and they've made really beautiful connections with other young people. So yeah, we'd encourage you to stay, but know that that's not possible all the time. No, we've already answered that one.
We've already done that one. So this is the last question that we have organised prior. When will I find out if my application for camp was successful or not? Good question. Applications close this coming Friday, the 31st, and the process of choosing campers is set to 1 day. So how soon do we let folks know?
So it'll hopefully be in the first couple of weeks of September that we let you know. So the camp itself is in the school holidays in October. So we try to give you at least a month notice in terms of whether you got in or not. Obviously, things change for young people as well, and some people are allowed to come and they're not allowed to, and the other way around as well. So it's a bit of a fluctuating process throughout September of getting people on board. But yeah, you'll find out hopefully by mid-September if you made it or not, because we only have the 50 spots, or around 50 spots for young people across the state. If we could, we would run Camp Out a few times a year, because we know that there's enough young people out there that would like to be involved, and that might be something that we do in the future. But for now, only have the resources to do it once a year. But we'd love to have you on board. Did anyone else have any questions that they would like to ask us? We will also keep this video on our Facebook. So people, if you would like to watch the video later on and would like to ask a question stemming from this conversation, just ask it as a comment and we'll come back on board and just write out our answers. Are there any other questions?
So we've had a question come through. If we live on North Coast New South Wales, can we apply for camp? Absolutely, yeah. Renee, we were discussing earlier that we have people coming from all over New South Wales, and we try and support you to get to camp if that's an issue, and we have buses leaving from certain hubs. So Christian has a little list here.
Yeah, so last year, like depending on where campers are coming from, we can organise particular stations for the buses to arrive at. So last year we did Newcastle, Gosford, Redfern, Blacktown, Broadmeadow and Campbelltown. I think we also had a car that went out to Taree. I think that's what the situation was, or some trains possibly as well. But we like to be on the journey with the camper as well. So as much as we can to get people on our buses, because that bus journey to camp is really, really nice as well, to kind of break the ice a little bit and start to meet each other. But yeah, if there's quite a few campers from the one area, we can try to accommodate that in terms of our transport arrangements. But our main thing is the buses that we hire for the week, and that brings campers home as well. Good question. Thank you for that. Was there anything else, Renee, or anyone else that you'd like to ask us?
What have we got here?
We can talk about that one.
Yeah. So at camp we have gender-free bathrooms. So all of the bathrooms, this is my understanding because I've not been to camp, for anyone who's just joined, we have individual cubicles with a shower in them. So it's all space, but everyone goes into a locked cubicle for their shower. It's also the same bathrooms that crew use. So there are people going in and out all the time, and it's quite safe, but you have your own little cubicle for the shower and a little place to get changed, I imagine.
Yeah.
That's what they usually look like.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And we understand that that's important, not just for young people, but for many of us in the queer community, that bathrooms are sometimes places that are, a little nerve-wracking for us. So we do everything we can to keep that private and worry-free, And so if campers ever have an issue as well in the bathrooms and how we can kind of improve that experience, then we definitely can do that.
We've also had a question come in from Kerry. Should I worry about if my child has dietary and medical requirements? It's totally natural for you to worry, but you shouldn't about camp, because lots of young people that come along to camp, and even lots of crew, have dietary requirements, and celiac can definitely be catered for. And as long as the young person is confident in managing their type 1 diabetes, we can support them to manage that as well, and make sure that they're taking their medication. I will be on a little crew that we call Sunshine, and we look after folks' mental health and physical health and things like that as well. So we'll be checking in with young people that have medication requirements.
Thanks for that question. It's really important to get these questions out there as well, because we get asked all the time. People email us through our email, and yeah, I should say as well, if you do want to contact us, either do it by this Facebook, just message us, or email us at info@campout.org.au.
Thanks, Kerry.
Were there any other questions before we sign off? I think everyone is happy.
Seeing lots of smiley faces on the side, so that's a good thing.
Nice. And we might do this again. This is the first time that we've done a Facebook Live, but we might even do it again, possibly after we choose the campers, and we can go have a live event for campers to ask any questions, because especially as it comes closer to camp and we start getting really nervous about the experience, and we start thinking, do I have to bring my linen? Do I have to bring my sleeping bags? How much clothes do I have to bring? And we try to give as much information as possible to young people to answer all those questions, because they're legit questions. They're questions that everyone's thinking, but kind of sometimes don't want to ask. So yes, bring as many questions as you like.
And coming to camp is a really big thing. So if we can put the basic fears to rest about linen and food and that sort of thing, then we can deal with the rest of the nerves later.
So thank you to everyone who joined us for this event. Like we said, we hope to do it again before Camp Out in October, and really want to thanks to everyone for joining us and for supporting us as a community-run program. We don't get funds from the government. We like to do it all ourselves and really run it from the community, from the ground up. And it's you out there, both campers and the community, who really help us to put this amazing 5-day camp on for young people across the state. So thank you. Thanks for your support, and we'll see you again.
Bye.
Bye.